All your heroes are dead, but mine stay alive. I'm Leo Roboto. Welcome along to another gun-free episode of The Struggle. On the program tonight, a wiggly world of woe, a death on the golf course, and an epidermal expose. But first, Victoria is in crisis, as the state debt level is set to reach almost $200 billion over the next 2 years. But where some see a rapidly deteriorating public purse, we at The Struggle see innovation, opportunity. I mean, just think of all the weird and wacky new revenue-raising hijinks the Allen government will be cooking up to try and get a lid on this boiling budget. The sickos at the Department of Treasury and Finance have long let themselves grow round and content, relying on kickbacks from our state's world-leading predatory road fine system. And long may they continue to do so. But an uber web of cop cameras just doesn't rattle the proverbial change can like it used to. So perhaps more could be done to find non-driving Victorians. Unlike motorists, extorting the same funds from rail-based rule breakers requires some more old-school methods, namely Myki officers. The Public Transport Authority is very opaque with when and where they send their vest-clad troopers, but using averages from Citizen Report-based Myki officer tracking app, as well as the 2024 PTV Fair Compliance Report, we can draw a few troubling conclusions. The precise deployments of officers is excluded from the report, but we can see particularly greater rates of transport fines in more bus-reliant areas. According to the Rail Futures Institute, while the metropolitan train network covers around 90% of inner suburban areas, the almost 80% of Melburnians living in outer and middle suburbs are left with only 41 and 4% of rail coverage, meaning that for most people, buses are the only options. And sure, you might think to yourself, tough luck, bus wankers, and that would be funny, but it would also be overlooking the growing issue of transport equity. Taking a closer look at the highest reported bus fine hotspots, we can see the depots at Lilydale, Sunshine, Frankston and Broadmeadows. And what do they all have in common? Immediate proximity to tertiary educational institutions. And in the cases of Sunshine and Broadmeadows, they're also areas with disadvantage indexes below the national average. Now, it would be improper to suggest that students and statistically disadvantaged Victorians are disproportionately targeted by Myki officers, so I'm not suggesting that. What I am saying, though, is that if I was the head of a hapless transport commission trying to plug a $28 million fare evader-shaped hole in my budget, I'd probably pick my targets a little richer. I'm talking about having troop carriers of Myki officers pulling up to Toorak and Brighton stations like National Guardsmen to the Lincoln Memorial. Besides, any Eaglemont station gadabout already knows the 3 simple rules to dodging a Myki fine. 1. Attack, attack, attack. 2. Deny everything, admit nothing. And 3. Always claim victory, never admit defeat. And good running shoes, they help too. Anyway,